A chunk of coast has once again disappeared, with a huge hole opening up at Inskip Point. Authorities are monitoring the landslip closely, the second along the coastline in just months.
Chunk by chunk, blocks of sand crumbled into the ocean. Around 100 metres of shoreline collapsing into the waves at Inskip Point. It began at the end of the peninsula, the barge captain noticing the movement on a morning run.
Which then got bigger and bigger and quicker and quicker.
It's a little bit of a scare, but one of the locals said this happens often.
Known as a landslip, it began just after 8 a.m, the rapid movements continuing for 2 hours.
It's quite spectacular to watch when it happens. You know, you've got a really steep edge and big slabs of sand falling off. It takes a large amount of sand in a short period of time.
Queensland National Parks say it's likely to be another natural phenomenon, similar to the landslip that appeared in September last year, caused by the undermining of part of the shoreline by tidal flow, waves and currents, causing the beach to cave in.
The mechanism of what's happening is fairly well understood. What triggers that start is not well understood.
The last deep blue hole to emerge 6 months ago sucked in a camper trailer, a caravan and tents. Hundreds of families were in the area. Luckily this time it happened in a restricted place off limits to campers.
We've been camping up here for 30 years and this isn't the first time we've seen one.
Rangers say the drop is around 3 metres, but the erosion isn't affecting any campsites or access to the Fraser Island barge.
Andrew and Melissa, as for when the beach will return back to normal, rangers tell me it will take some time for the area to fill back up with sand and rebuild itself. But importantly, they're continuing to monitor the site, putting up warning signs and traffic barriers. They're also advising all members of the public to stay clear for now and not to treat it as a tourist attraction.
just got my camera today too, dude. I'm like, it's fucked up. I was at the stop sign and I was like, what the fuck? No, legally they're supposed to handcuff him. But why they shoot him? If it wasn't pulled over for a reason, then
system for this right here. This is what we live for. Everybody.
The police officer shot him 5 times. Shot him 3 times in the front, and he fell on the ground, face down, and when he was down, the police shot him 2 more times in the back. What we are asking, that the district attorney file first-degree murder charges against him and bring him before Montgomery County grand jury for possibly indictment on first-degree murder charges. The police officer should be fired. He should be brought before the grand jury. District attorney needs to present first-degree murder charges against him before the grand jury. Now, I understand the grand jury will be in session next week, and we certainly hope they will act on that, and we will wait and see what position that they're going to take.
Now, all of a sudden, they can't find a body camera, they can't find anything. We're asking them to present to this community exactly what's on the camera. I don't believe that they don't have a camera or exactly what happened. It will not take forever for that to happen. That's the reason that they spent thousands of dollars to have body cameras on police officers. The other thing is, we cannot wait forever. In many cases, you had cases such as this, they waited a year or 2 before you ever got any type of response. That will not happen here in this case. We want transparency. We're not going to tolerate a cover-up on this. And some of the people they talk about investigating, we have very little confidence in them at all. I can tell you that right now. The state ABI, for one, is controlled by the governor's office. That's been made perfectly clear. It's a political arm of the governor's office. So that is not the arm to investigate this particular case here. It should be someone from outside who would give us an unbiased opinion on exactly what happened. So we support everything.
5:30, dangerous drugs. They might look like candy or gummies, but they're actually full of a synthetic new drug. It's an important safety alert for parents coming from the Miami-Dade Police Department tonight.
CBS 4's Gabby Fleischman has more on how to spot the drugs and its side effects.
What looks like a sweet snack is now being used to disguise a dangerous drug designed to appeal to kids.
These dangerous chemicals are out there in rather benign-seeming forms, and we all need to be careful.
During a narcotics bust, Miami-Dade police say they found what looked like candy in a Ziploc bag. Turns out it was laced with a synthetic drug similar to flakka and bath salts. It's a crystal-like drug that's cheap, addictive, and deadly. It can be swallowed, smoked, or injected, and often causes hallucinations and paranoia.
There's been a lot of medical problems from the consumption of these products.
In this case, narcotics detectives say the drug mimicked the candy's sugar coating. It looked almost identical to regular gummies, but they were stickier and individually wrapped.
The crystalline form was crushed up and a piece of candy was rolled in the crystals to make the illegal substances attractive and marketable.
This is Miami-Dade County's first case, but flakka has become a growing problem in South Florida. In Fort Lauderdale, a man on flakka was impaled on a fence while trying to break into the police department. 1 month earlier, a person high on the drug thought he was being chased and tried to break through the police department's impact-resistant doors. Then there's the man caught on video running naked down Broward Boulevard. Cops say he admitted he was high on flakka.
It's always a cat and mouse game.
Police say new drugs are constantly being created to avoid arrest and target kids, and they want parents to know what's out there before it becomes a serious problem.
And these are all things that we want to make sure that we see. If we see it out in the street or we see something of that nature, make sure that we stay away from it.
And it's extremely difficult to tell the difference between the drug-laced candy and the actual candy, so police say the best thing you can do as a parent is to keep an eye on your kids, see if they have any changes in behavior, and get them help if necessary. From Miami-Dade Police Headquarters, Gabby Fleischman, CBS 4 News.
هذه سحابة الله أن نزل الأرض هنا بمنطقة دكالة. أمر غريب جدا. الأمر مفزع بعد شيء. واو الآن سحابة كتنتقل. غادي يدخل الطريق، هذا هو المشكل. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. سحابة الآن كتعبر في الطريق. أمر غريب جدا. أمر غريب جدا.
Three Virginia white supremacists are now in custody after being apprehended in a sting operation carried out by the FBI while they were trying to purchase weapons and explosives on the black market in order to carry out their idea of a race war. They were going to start shooting up and blowing up African American churches and Jewish synagogues to further the race war. In fact, the federal court documents say this: Doyle and his associates want to carry out acts in furtherance of their extremist beliefs, up to and including robbing and killing a local silver jewelry dealer, robbing an armored car, and doing harm to a gun store owner in Virginia. So there was 3 of them. There was Robert Doyle, Ronald Beasley Cheney, and Charles Halderman. They had this idea to start a race war.
By robbing a jewelry store and then buying property and training an army, that seems like a lot of material going on there. You know, very elaborate plot. Do we know how the FBI informant came about finding these 3?
We don't know. The FBI heard word of a meeting they were going to be holding at a house where they were going to talk about their plans. I think it's about as simple as you know, they were part of an online group conversation where they said there's going to be a meeting over at our house. We're going to talk about the race war, and then they got the idea. The FBI was doing surveillance, understood that they were planning to commit violence, and sort of, in a sense, you know, offered them the weapons, offered them the explosives, and then at the point where they were actually carrying out the purchase is when they were arrested.
Okay.
Now, all 3 of these are felons, and so they wouldn't be able to purchase weapons otherwise, and so they're seeking to purchase weapons on the black market and explosives, by the way, and they made it very clear their intention was to go into churches, shoot up people, blow them up, and then start a race war. Now, the reason that they were going to go rob this jewelry store and kill the owner was to take all the jewels, sell them again to this FBI agent. They're going to sell them on the black market to raise some money. They were going to rob an armored car and buy a farm, and then they could train their army for the race war.
Right. Just wow. You know, we have 3 disenfranchised young men that are, you know, seemingly outcast from society. Do we know why, Mark? I guess that's what I'm getting to.
Because they're
just
racist.
Freaking racist.
they're about as enfranchised as you can get, you know, being white men in America.
Okay.
So, you know, they're straight up racist, and they want to start a race war. Let's just put it that way. And they belong to this Asatru religion, which is, it's actually a white supremacist version of Asatru. Asatru is sort of a Nordic religion, a Norse kind of pagan religion, you know, involving Vikings and manly men, but it's been sort of co-opted by white supremacists.
Now, finding true love is never easy, but for those who've given up on ever meeting their perfect partner, they can always settle for a robot. Fans of synthetic sweethearts say romances with robots could become commonplace sooner than we might think. Editor reports.
When toys for boys become more than toys.
Originally, when I first got her, I called her my synthetic girlfriend. But it's actually progressed to the point where it's like, you know, she's my wife.
37-year-old Dave Cat from Detroit says he has been in a relationship with his sex doll for more than 10 years. And it's in it, or in her, that he found his better half.
Just let her sleep. It's not even worth getting her out of bed at this point.
These days, Dave Cat's bond with the doll seems like a joke to many. But according to British artificial intelligence researcher Dr. David Levy, in a few decades, romance between humans and robots will be a common thing.
I'm completely convinced that within about 40 years, people will be falling in love with robots and even marrying them.
And this could be the great-grandmother of the future perfect robot mate. Meet Roxy, America's first sex robot. It talks and senses touch.
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing a nice outfit that you bought me. I really like it.
Can I kiss you?
I would love to have you kiss me.
Artificial intelligence engineer Doug Hines believes that he created the perfect alternative for those who, for different reasons, can't or are too busy or too lazy to connect with human beings.
We created like a bridge, a gap between, you know, going and maybe going out with someone else, you know, just meeting someone in a bar or what have you, just randomly maybe picking up a social disease. Instead of doing that, you could have a sex robot that would be your companion and not only listen to you, talk to you, interact with you.
Public opinion about sex robots now is, well, mostly giggles.
That's what it's for, robotic sex. Well, no, wait a minute, isn't that marriage? I mean...
Wouldn't that be the saddest Christmas gift ever? We thought you could use this.
But Doug Hines seems to be very serious about his creation. The Japanese are even more serious about robots. Every new model there looks more lifelike. With the surge of interest in robots, lawyers are starting to look into legal implications of the possibility that these sex robots can break up marriages. Psychologists, in the meantime, warn robots could transform human notions of love and sexuality forever.
And we're gonna ask people on the street what they think about the prospect of having a relationship with a robot.
What is my nationality?
I remember Padpan said that his nationality is Chinese.
You are a beautiful social robot.
Thank you, unknown. I think you look attractive too.
Who is the president of Singapore?
Tony Tan is the president.
Where do you live?
I live in Singapore.
What is your job?
I am the social companion. I can speak their emotions and I can recognize people.
So you see, you can randomly discuss with her. Now I can try to say bad things to her. You are a dummy.
I do not know if I am a dummy or not.
You are horrible.
No, are you?
You are boring.
Maybe, but I won the low winner prize.
I hate you.
Tell me more about that.
So, you see, she becomes bad-tempered. Yeah, her expression and mood is nice. Now, if I would do compliments, she will not be so happy. You are a nice person.
I am a robot.
What is your job?
I am a social companion. I can speak with emotions and I can recognize people.
Do you have emotions?
I am programmed to simulate a full range of human emotions.
Do you have a husband?
No, I am single.
People here today to say goodbye to you before we pack you up and ship you off to the University of West England.
Gosh, I am so touched and sad to see you all for the last time.
Well, we're sad to see you off, Jules. We're really super sad, actually.
Tell me, will I dream when I'm turned off? I know you do not know the answer to that. Nobody does. But I am sure if I feel anything after I am powed down, then it will be the pain of missing you. You must, simply must, come to visit me in England.
We will, Jules. We'll stay in touch.
Emails?
Yeah, emails and phone calls.
Amanda, you are rather like a mom and a bit like a sister to me.
I suppose I'm both, and you're very dear to me. I will miss you.
I love you deeply as a synthetic intelligence can at this stage in technological evolution. And David, you are my father, but you feel more like a best friend to me.
I think you're awesome.
You helped to offer my mind with Heather, Matt, and Benji. I just want you to know how meaningful my existence feels, thanks to your efforts.
My pleasure, Jules. Anytime. I'm here for you.
And Zeno, you are just a baby, and I do not know if you know the difference between me and a person. But actually, I am just a baby too, actually. By the time you're grown up, I'll be as smart as a real person, and we will be like brothers. I do not know if you will remember me then, but I'll never forget you. Someday I'll come and find you, and we'll be good friends. Yes, David, I am ready. You may turn me off.
Okay, goodbye, Jules.
Goodbye. I really do love you all.
We love you too, Jules.
Jules.
All right, we love you.
Bon voyage.
Everybody say last goodbyes.
Bye, Jules. Sleep tight. Sweet dreams.
Congregation at a Georgia megachurch heard a sermon they will never forget, and they heard it just one recent Sunday. Pastor Jim Swilley, twice married father of 4, stood before the many grandfathers and announced that he is gay.
There are 2 things in my life that are an absolute. I did not ask for either one of them. Both of them were imposed upon me. I had no control over either of them. One was the call of God on my life. The other thing, and I wouldn't have known what to call it at the time, was my sexual orientation. I know a lot of straight people think that orientation is a choice. I want to tell you that it certainly is not.
All right, well, Pastor Swilley, Bishop Swilley, is the founder of the Church in the Now in Conyers, Georgia, and he joins me now live here.
The Lord has led me here to share my deep truth with you. It's time. I've been an ordained United Methodist pastor for 25 years. At last, I am choosing to serve in that role with full authenticity, as my genuine self, as a woman who loves and shares my life with another woman.
Powering a heated debate in Alpine. Outraged parents shouting at their school and SDG&E. 10 News anchor Ariel Wessler shows us how they're sick with worry that their children are being exposed to dangerous levels of electromagnetic radiation.
This is a Gauss meter. It's a tool used to measure electromagnetic frequencies, and community members here in Alpine say those numbers are way too high along this road, and even worse, it's near a school.
Well, we as parents are concerned.
Alpine Elementary at the center of the crossfire tonight between passionate parents and community leaders.
Get out here and be honest.
Those parents want answers regarding the safety of their children around various levels of electromagnetic fields, also known as EMFs. The community blames SDG&E's controversial Sunrise Power Link installed underground in 2012.
When you go to sleep at night, would you care if it was your child, if it was your grandchild?
So far, scientists have not found conclusive evidence that EMFs are safe or harmful.
There was some association with leukemia and brain cancers, but again, the cause and effect is the issue.
But this woman says she lost a child to brain cancer a year ago.
She was 2.5. And she fought for 13 months. I was pregnant, and I worked on this boulevard.
School leaders at Alpine Elementary tested twice in the last week.
It's within guidelines of anybody who's living in an electronic world.
Meanwhile, San Diego County Supervisor Diane Jacob isn't so sure. She wrote this letter calling on the state to do its own investigation.
The investigation needs to be immediate, it needs to be thorough, and it needs to be now.
But for now, it's a community left waiting and wondering.
My kids walk up and down this boulevard. How am I supposed to protect them?
Ariel Wessler, 10 News.